The time is 6:30. A little better with a gavel tonight. What a difference a week makes. And good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the City Commission for Tuesday, November 22nd. The meeting will come to order. Please join me in silencing your cell phone. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Cleveland.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hartman.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McGurk.
Here.
Commissioner Perrine. Here. Thank you.
And now Police Department Chaplain Sheila Turner will deliver the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance as led for us by Vice Mayor Randy Hartman.
Let us bow our heads and hearts unto the Lord. Dear gracious Father, we thank you for allowing us to be together one more time this day, and we ask that you allow us to enjoy the Thanksgiving festival, which is coming up real soon. Help us to make the right decisions for our great city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. City Manager, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir, no changes.
Call it, if it please the commission, I would like to have your report up front.
Absolutely.
Any objections? Without objection? And that would be now.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Let me start by talking about the debris. As of yesterday, we have collected 114,507 cubic yards of debris, and that's combined yard debris as well as construction and demolition material. Our contractor is not here this week. However, he will be back on Monday to start our final pass. So that will be advertised, and we could move forward with that one. So far, we don't have an exact estimate on the debris generated from Nicole. Obviously, most of the damage is along the coast, and so I haven't seen if they are going to put it on outside on South Atlantic, on Hill Street, or on the beach. So we're working with that to find out exactly what it's going to be and who's going to be collecting that, because if it's on South Atlantic, obviously South Atlantic is a county road. The other topic is really, right now, it's a moving target for staff. Staff is working on a process information sheet as we developed one for Hurricane Ian. Because the situation and the location of the damage is on the beach, so you got the Department of Environmental Protection as well as the county and the city involved with it. The county and the DEP held kind of a workshop about 3-4 weeks ago. They're going to hold another one on December 1st at the city of Daytona Beach Shores. Our staff will be present to man our table to provide any information to residents who might have any questions. I know that Commissioner Martin is having public meetings in her zone on the 28th and the 29th and 30th. So we provided some information for her as well. The other topic is the moratorium. So the city attorney's office is working on the moratorium. I think I mentioned at the last city commission meeting that most likely it would be 6 months, and I think now it's probably definite will be 6 months. I received the proposal from our experts about an hour ago. I have not sifted through it, but it looks like from his schedule, he will provide some type of report sometime in May or June. But the other thing I wanted to do is the kickoff meeting is supposed to be in January. And so we have two options. My idea is to have the kickoff meeting in January where we have a public meeting and we have residents come into the meeting and tell us their story, tell us about what happened in their home, in their neighborhoods, where the expert is present. I have provided to him the two flood maps from Ian and Nicole. So he has all the properties that we know of that have flooded. He knows the area very well. So that's one option. The other option is you have a workshop on December 15th. You could do it then, but it seems like it's a short notice. I would like to do it in January if it's possible, where we have everybody there to come into that meeting. We have enough time to put a notice out and make sure that we have enough people that they're aware of the meeting. But that's my recommendation for that meeting. It'll be sometime in January, where we could have debriefing on both hurricanes, as well as for them to come in and tell us about their story, about their property, and about their neighborhood. If you have any questions on this before I move into the public comments, I'm happy to answer any
Mr.
questions.
Hartman, comments or questions?
No, I think the January meeting would be better with the holidays and everything. It may impact some people for December, so.
Commissioner McGurk?
Nothing to add. I agree with the statements.
Commissioner Martin, any questions or comments?
Well, just a comment that I know a lot of houses that have had some damage have not been reported to the city. I looked at the maps, so I'm encouraging everybody to contact Danielle Larkowski, who, poor thing, is out this week, to be a single point of contact to gather all that information.
Very good.
Are the spaces that are currently on, or the indications currently on your maps, FEMA locations, or are they anecdotal? I mean, are they reported by calls?
Reported by our staff and by calls.
I noticed neither the Rose Apartments nor the New Smyrna Beach Apartments were on it, and I couldn't tell if Coronado Arms was, but
Yeah.
they were flooded big time.
Now, what happened is if you have a Coronado Arms, it would just show one. It would not show every unit.
Yeah, no, I think it showed one there, but I couldn't see any indication for either of those two apartment buildings.
Okay. We'll double check on it, but I think it's there if I recall.
It would be nice, and I could have missed it.
Anything else, Commissioner Martin? Nothing else?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, good. Commissioner Perine?
January would work well for me because I got the list myself for Zone 1 yesterday, and I went through those today and compiled and started visiting some of the homes in Zone 1, and there's over 250 at least, so it's going to take me some time to get through those, but I would like to spend December going through that and then meet in January.
Khalid, I agree with my colleagues on the dais and your recommendation. Speed is not important here, but depth and accuracy and unearthing all of the source problems is. So I think it's January is the best date.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Well,
Was there other parts of your report you wanted to deliver now, or do you want to
yeah,
do
I'm
it
going to
later?
go over the
Right
public
ahead.
participation comments, if you don't mind. So we had, at the last meeting, we had 17 public comments. And I would categorize them as well. There are some comments where, just as a comment, it didn't read any response. And there are some comments where concerned to the flooding, specifically on Pine and Goodwin and Beacon. The staff have met with some of these residents. I think one of them, I was really kind of like surprised. He was on the list of elevation projects and he dropped out. So today I did some investigation on his numbers. Initially, he had, I think, his cost would have been $29,233. Now, right after we had the bid, the contractor was concerned about the slabs having some reinforcement in it. So there was additional cost where we went back to FEMA, we got the cost. So his cost went up from $29,000 to $35,483. So it's about $6,000, $7,000. So I was surprised why would he drop out of there. So I would reach out to him probably sometime tomorrow or next week after Thanksgiving. I just would like to know that. One of them have mentioned about the sewer, so I reached out to the utilities. They didn't have any lift station that have any overflow. So my suspicion is, would have been probably from the manholes themselves, maybe they have, because there is quite a bit of stormwater that went into the sewer manholes. But they're digging deep into it for me as well. There were some more comments on Babe James. Several comments in particular. I met with staff one session. I would like to meet with them another session, but I think eventually what I will have is have a public meeting at Babe James with the users and also with the residents in that area to see what kind of programs, what kind of issues, and see if there is any improvement we could make. And also I'm going out with Pastor Pete sometimes between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I want to go on a Saturday on a golf carts and also just kind of tour the area and talk to the residents and see if we can get any feedback. But a public meeting probably would be a good idea for me to kind of gather what the information is. There was a question about Francis lots, if you recall, the one that the city have donated to Habitat. That particular lots on Francis, the commission did not do anything with it, but Habitat has offered, I guess they had $25,000 that they might do some either a park or something in that nature. And we were supposed to have a meeting, Habitat was supposed to have a meeting sometimes in October, but then the hurricane came. I've talked to one of the board members and they would like to have a public meeting sometimes in January with the residents to see if they wanted to do anything. So that's coming up. The same person have asked question about the mural ordinance. We have presented a mural ordinance to the City Commission some time back. There was some discussion about it, the location, the type of mural, so it really didn't go anywhere. If the Commission wishes to bring that item back, I'll be more than happy to bring it back. So I'll look for some direction from the Commission on that. He mentioned about Pine Island. Pine Island, as you know, have flooded significant in Ian. It didn't have anything in Nicole. There is a canal surrounds Pine Island. And as you could see from the flood map, when you have a surge that it's associated to any ditches that its tidal effect, it had an impact in those areas. So Pine Island, you have the Quail Hollow, you have Timber Trace. They're all within one area. And also you have the Country Club Chalet and then the Green Road. That's in that area. And then if you go up north of the airport where you have Sunsets, and Westwood, and it's almost a similar situation in terms of the surge and the flooding. So when we have the expert, and I gave him all the information when we met initially with him, and I gave him the maps, and I want him to look at those specific areas in particular and see if there's any issues with whether we need to do something to the ditches, because some of the people have called us, say, hey, you need to do some dredging. There's an ownership question as well there. I mean, there is some that owned by the county or maintained by the county, some is maintained by the city, and some is maintained by who knows. And so there's a lot of unknowns there that it's playing. So we will get to the bottom of it and see if there's anything we need to do in terms of that. The other thing is some of the subdivisions, they have responsibility of maintenance. So I wanted to visit these residential subdivisions and make sure that they do have in their homeowner association somebody is looking into the maintenance of their system, because their retention areas are maintained by the HOA. The only thing we maintain is the pipes in the right-of-way and the pipes going from the right-of-way to the retention area. But everything else is maintained by them. So the outfall structures, they're very important in terms of stormwater. So I will revisit or have staff revisit them and talk about that. There was one comment about dune restoration. Obviously, we all know we don't maintain, we don't control the beach. I think the comment was, why didn't you get, he wants the city to get 500 to 600 truckloads from Bethune Beach and dump them there. I wanted to do some sand restoration at Esther Street Park, and I had a hard time because the sand has to be a special type. But we're working with the county. I think the county is aware of it. I know Commissioner Martin has been asking about the dune walkovers, and I think the county has dune walkovers all the way from Bethune Beach all the way to the south city limits of Flagler Beach. So I know they're working on it. I don't have any schedule at this point. I don't have any time limit on when they are going to repair the dune walkovers. But I know they're working on it, and we're encouraging the county to get and see if there is anything we could do in terms of the dune restoration. There was a question about the Brannan Center. I think the lady who spoke, she was talking about red tape at the Brannan Center. And I assure you there is no red tape. I think she was talking about catering. And for catering, as long as you have a license as a caterer, you could come in, there's an application you fill out, and then fill out the application, make sure you have all the documents with it, you're okay. She mentioned about that the staff asked her for an alcohol license. If you are serving alcohol, they're asking you for alcohol license, but they don't require it. They don't ask for it unless if you're serving alcohol. There was a resident who spoke about Quail Hollow. It's the mobile home park off of Pioneer Trail. It's almost the same issue as Pine Island with the canals. Obviously, they're in a low area. Some of these mobile homes are low. Right now, staff is dealing with that issue there because we have probably, I would say, out of the 100 and change units, there's about 12 units that they might have some substantial damage. So staff is diligently dealing with that issue, trying to address the issue. In the meantime, making sure that they're protected in terms of their safety and also that they don't have any issues in terms of whether it's fire, electric, and so forth. And I think that's all the comments, Mayor, that I had back in December 15th.
Colin, thank you for the follow-up on the public participation. I know that will be very meaningful, certainly for those that spoke up, and informative for many of the residents that are unaware of all the staff work that goes on behind the scenes. Is there a comment or question from any of the commissioners? Very good. Thank you so much. That said, we'll move along to the public participation part of the city business meeting. This is our business meeting. We try to conduct ourselves accordingly. So I will invite anyone who would like to make a comment, offer an opinion, or inform the commission. This is not a dialogue. This does not go back and forth. There's not a question and answer ceremony. And so I encourage you, if you have a comment or a question, we'll record that and we'll have the appropriate staff person take action. And so you'll have 3 minutes. And so thank you for your attendance and thank you for your participation. I recognize Marvel Richards. Thank you for coming up, Marvel.
Welcome. Marvel Richards. I live at 1099 Clubhouse Boulevard. I may be a little early with what I'm going to say, but I'm here to urge all of you to vote yes for the building moratorium. But I would like you to consider it citywide, not just in flood zones, because all of Florida is really a flood zone. We live in Sugar Mill, and we flooded. Sugar Mill was first started in the 60s. Our home was built in 1986. There'd never been any flooding in there before, and I believe that Coastal Woods had something to do with that, because that was all wetlands. It was raised up 9 to 12 feet. They were dry as a bone. Peter and I drove through there. Not one house had anything in front of it. So, and we are much lower than they are now. So anyway, I just think a lot of time needs to be put into thinking about this moratorium. I'd also like to suggest that the moratorium be 6 to 9 months, not 2 months. 2 months, you're just pacifying the citizens. You know, it's like giving a baby a pacifier. I just hope that you'll consider a longer time. The wetlands, as you know, they're beneficial for the natural storage of surface water runoff. And we just can't keep going the way we're going in this town and not expect this flooding to happen again. I know we had 20 inches of rain, but no. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Ms. Richards. Yes, ma'am. Name and address for the city clerk, if you don't mind, please.
Sure. Claudia Vanderhorst, 562 Aeolian Drive, New Smyrna Beach. Good evening and welcome to all the new members. Please pardon my casual attire, and please don't take that as an indication of anything I have to say is also casual, because it's not. This is very serious. I take this seriously. The moratorium, as I understand it, is restricted to only current floodplains. With the application and acceptance of FEMA money, those flood zones are going to change immediately as soon as those checks are cashed. So if we limit the moratorium to what we already know is a flood zone and ignore areas that flooded, for whatever reason, we're not doing the city just service. We're just not. I've done some research about understanding how this whole process works, and I've listened very carefully to our engineers, and they've explained the formula that they use to determine how to prevent a new community from flooding. And in the process of that, I've realized that the focus is only on the new one. It's only on the new community. There's a formula that they use, and there's a fudge factor in that formula that allows for unprecedented events and situations, and it's supposed to protect us, protect that community from any surprises. What isn't taken into consideration is how those surprises impact the neighboring communities. There's not an integration of systems between neighboring systems. It's focused on the new guy. Well, Marvel brought up Coastal Woods. I'm going to focus on that one because they flooded us. Coastal Woods was well protected, but all their water went in ours, into our little farmland system, cow pasture, and was supposed to discharge into sugar mill ditches. The county recently informed me that the sugar mill ditches were designed only to accept road water runoff. So there's an integration, there's a failure to integrate our systems on an ongoing basis. It's not enough to make Rolling Hills safe, Sugar Mill safe, Coastal Woods safe, Isles of Sugar Mill safe. We're all in it together, and that water's going to run through all of us. We have to pay attention to that. The fudge factor has to be a number one thing that it has to change with the time. Mother Nature's got a fudge factor too, and she's not playing with us. She's not playing well with us. The census, the most recent census, changed the map of New Smyrna Beach. It changed the level of urbanization and population density, so much so that we changed our zones, our commission zones. That has to be taken into consideration as well when we're doing the moratorium, to understand all these plans that are coming out, the density in our urban areas has changed. Those formulas that might have worked 10 years ago may not apply now. We've got to reassess and look at it and make sure we're taking all those factors into consideration.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your
Thank you.
time.
Good evening,
Evening, ma'am.
and welcome new guys. Barbara Frappier, 2536 Edgewater Avenue. I'd like to ditto what Claudia just had to say. This board has the ability to put in place a zoning overlay district which would go beyond the bounds of FEMA's A zones, B zones. It would take in the entire city. Because some of the wetlands, some of the flooding areas, some of the upland areas that get water that aren't mapped as a flood zone are having flooding and drainage issues. And much of that is caused by activities that have been adjacent. So now you're putting in jeopardy people that maybe bought their house because they didn't want to have to pay flood insurance and they didn't want to have to be under the confines of FEMA, and now they're in trouble. The easiest way to do this, because I've done it before, and is a zoning overlay district. It would encompass the entire town, take into consideration all wetlands, all flood zones, all drainage areas, and do, as Claudia explained, an overall cohesive macro design for how to manage the city. And it would help all around. FEMA has regulations that sometimes I don't know for sure, but they don't look like they're really being adhered to really strictly. Some certain rules they have, for instance, if you remodel a house, you buy a little house like this and you remodel it and you're in their district, that's going to be brought up to all FEMA standards if it's more than 50% of the value of the building. There's all of these little things that, that's a big thing, but FEMA has guidelines. When you come with where you're going to place the lowest habitable space in a house, FEMA has a rule as to how many feet above the base flood elevation. That's not above the base flood elevation after you put in 10 feet of fill. It's from the original base flood elevation. So if we put it up 2 feet above that, maybe we need to go up 10 feet to save these people. There are people coming from all over. They don't know of our issues, and to have some poor person, those people in Volusia and Coastal Woods, a lot of them are pretty PO'd, that they spend a lot of money to buy these houses, and now they've got swimming pools in their front yard. What do I have for time? 18 seconds. One thing you could work on right now, it wouldn't take any moratorium. I wish you would all, as a board, express that you would like to not see the Pioneer Trail interchange. That is huge. It's going to cause such flooding, such destruction of the environment, and it's just, I wish, if you haven't looked at it, I wish you would all look at it and let DOT know that this is not a good thing for New Smyrna Beach, especially that area of town with all of the wetlands that are there, and they're integral to Spruce Creek. So I will throw that in for now.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Cheryl Booth, 216 North Dust Street, and it won't take me 3 minutes. I just need to ask a question. How can I find out when you're going to be having the meeting to address that area, New Smyrna, on the other side? I know you said in January, but I didn't get the date. You haven't decided yet, right?
We have not established a date yet.
Okay,
but
so how can I find out? I
we
mean,
will advertise it, and we will have electronic signs in your neighborhood.
that's what I need to know. I'm flooded like nobody's business. I can't even live in my own house, so it's horrible. It was horrible over there. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Recognize Mr. Shoshone. Scott, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
Name and address, if you don't mind, for the city clerk.
Sure. Scott Shoshone with the law firm of Cobb Cole. My address is 149 South Ridgewood, Daytona Beach, Florida. Council members, Lord Mayor of Cleveland, Airgate Aviation, my client, is an airline tenant at the city airport. And the city attorney is scheduled to report on the status of that lease arrangement later this evening. The Council had asked for an extension of the lease, but an extension is unnecessary, as I discussed with council, because the lease we have has 4 5-year options. We've exercised that option for the second 5-year option period, and the copy of that option was, a copy of the notice was sent to council last week, so you would have that on record that we did exercise it. So the extension is not necessary to, in this situation. The second issue I'd like to talk about is the rent dispute that's going on. There's a dispute in rent because the city has charged sales tax to Airgate Aviation for 10 years. The statute is real clear, and I don't think there's any dispute that an airline is not subject to sales tax. And last week I sent a schedule to council setting forth the dollar amount that we think was overcharged over the last 10 years. And also, as a sign of good faith to resolve the lease dispute, a check for $10,000 was submitted to the city and accepted last week. And it is our intent to resolve this. So I'm here tonight to ask the city, and I apologize to council, I sent an email late in the afternoon requesting that the city sit down for a mediation with Airgate Aviation to resolve this matter. If not a mediation, which is a formal process, and there's an independent mediator, then at least have a meeting with councils and perhaps the city manager so that we can go over the details. We can even tour the facility. I can give you all the statutes and all the citations showing you our point. If nothing worse, we're paying our rent current, so nothing's worse going on with the city. And the city can learn about all the details and all the statutes and all the Florida administrative codes and tax opinions that we have that shows that we are correct in our position that sales tax is not owed. And my time is limited, but there are certain, I'd ask that there's some confusion about the exclusivity portion. An airline does not have to use it exclusively. It can be prorated according to technical assistant advisement TAA 09A046 and a number of other numbers that you're going to forget. So there's a lot of code sections to go into this to show that sales tax is improperly charged on Airgate, and we'd like to resolve it and get the city paid up. And
thank you, Mr. Shoshone. Thank you very much for your time.
You.
Appreciate
thank
it. Anyone else for public participation? Evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Joe Dluback, and I reside at 3587 Cassalta Circle in Venetian Bay, a community of over 7,000 residents. To the new members of the City Commission, we've met informally, but I stand before you today as a member of the Venetian Bay Homeowners Coalition, an association connected with the Residents Coalition. Our entity was formed in reaction to an inadequate response to homeowners concerned by the developer-controlled Venetian Bay HOA, a developer who has been termed crass and arrogant. Our goal is simple: to ensure that the requirements specified in the Venetian Bay PUD MDA, the contract between the city and the developer, are satisfied. Nothing less, nothing more. To that end, transparency with the city is paramount. We have a statement that captures our goal. We want Venetian Bay to be an example, to be a standard for how major community can be developed and involved. We do not want to be the beta test site for the next one. We are available to discuss any of our concerns with you at your convenience. Lastly, a question with regard to the moratorium and the stormwater management updates to the LDR and Code of Ordinance. It seems to imply that those updates are going to apply to new construction, new developments. But I think we've heard that the entire city, existing elements of the city, must also be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Is there anyone else for public participation? Recognize Mr. Sather. Your name and address for the record, sir.
Steve Sather, 806 East 14th Avenue, New Smyrna Beach, Florida, 32169. Good evening. Welcome. Glad to see all of you here. I attended the third quarter economic development meeting the other day, put on the Volusia County Economic Development Division. It was hosted by Janelle Hine, Development Director for the SBA. I wanted to just give you a couple of highlights that came out of the meeting. I don't know if any of you or all of you have attended the Q meetings that they have every quarter, representing all 16 communities in the city and the county. There's a few different things we might want to know, and I'm just trying to pull out a few quick notes. First of all, you need to know, and everyone here, from what I've heard, there's grants and funding called Keep It Local, which is put on SBA, which is giving grants to minority-owned businesses, up to $5,000 micro grants. Also, there's the Hello Alice Small Business Growth Fund, and they're in their fourth run, and those grants run up to $25,000. You can get more information on those as it goes along. A couple of quick things. Private businesses establishment trend, which I think is interesting. Volusia is up 15% in the establishment of businesses. Florida is up 23%. 91% of this growth in Volusia County has less than 20 employees. 82% overall have less than 10 employees. The number one industry is education and health services, 49,400. However, the number one growth industry, no surprise, leisure and hospitality, is up by 2,167 jobs. The retail trade is up by 1,500. Professional businesses are up by 1,467. Local government, including the DSC and the Volusia County Schools, is up by 1,267. Federal government, no growth. State growth, only 33. Unemployment is trending down, which we think is really important. Matter of fact, unemployment is its lowest since March of 20. So we're doing well in that direction. Municipal employment. The number one municipal employer in the county is Daytona with 32,786 employees. Comparison, New Smyrna Beach has 12,892. We're number 3 in that category. Residential new construction permits. Daytona has 397, unincorporated 146, Deltona 129, New Smyrna Beach 31. Third quarter permits for commercial development. In 2021, there were 7 at the same quarter. And now in Daytona, we have adding 24. Unincorporated had 8 a year ago, 15. New Smyrna Beach, 1. So when we look at the investment on this basis, we also look at the fact that the commercial development investment in Daytona is $26 million, Port Orange $53 million, Ormond Beach $12 million, and New Smyrna Beach $8 million. I just thought we might want to get a little bit of a handle on some of the things that are trending and the type of businesses that are trending and the growth in those areas. New Smyrna Beach is actually doing quite well. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Mr. Sather. Appreciate your report. Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, good evening. I'm Karen Allen. My address is 508 North Dust Street. And my question, I have a question. I heard him saying that they were going to have a community meeting to address some of the issues at Babe James. Has that date been set?
No, we have not set it up yet.
Okay, and the other thing, you said you were going to be visiting with Pastor Pete over the holidays. Is that going to be a certain day or certain place?
Between Thanksgiving and the Christmas.
And you're going to speak with some
One
community?
Saturday.
Okay.
I'm just going to tour the area in a golf cart, so just go around and.
Okay, so if I see the golf cart, I can say stop?
Yep.
Well, he knows who I am anyway. Okay, thank you. That was my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
So I have a comment on that comment. Are you sure it's a golf cart and not his riding mower?
No speeding vehicle.
Lots of inside baseball there, for sure. Anybody else for public participation? Public participation is now closed. Does any member from the commission or the city manager wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Mayor, if
Sure.
I may, just for comments, I would like to remove item 6F and 6G.
6F and shift G are removed and go down to the general conversation area, if I have the protocol right.
Well, if you want to go and address the other ones, and then we could come back to these.
Okay. Perfect.
Are we removing them or just?
Yeah.
Just for comment. I'm going to just pull them out for comment. I just want to make some comment.
Very good. So we'll pull them under administrative and new business so that your comments can be made and we can ask questions at that point. Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Move to approve consent.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Kelly, call the roll, please.
Sure. I'm sorry, for clarification, we're moving those two items to administrative?
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right. Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Let me see. Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes. Sorry, yes.
That's okay. Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, on to the new business and administrative items. Would you like to, Khalid, give us a tutorial on 7A, please?
Okay. 7A, and that is consider the approval of accepting a grant from the Florida Inland Navigation District fund in the amount of $75,000 for the purchase of a public safety boat, motor, and trailer.
Mayor, point of information?
Yeah.
7A is a variance.
Right. Yeah, so we're going to do them in order,
Okay.
Colin. So we'll do 7A first,
That's
which
fine.
is the variance. So tee that up if you don't mind.
Before you tonight is a appeal from a variance application that was heard by the P&Z and denied for a property located at 3311 Hill Street. The applicant has requested a continuance to the December City Commission meeting. The item has been advertised, and it's commission prerogative whether to continue it to the December meeting tonight. In order to preserve the ad, we would need a motion to continue to a date certain in December, which would be December, I believe it's the 13th.
Okay, so it's an item to, it's a motion to, not a motion, it's been asked by Representative Storch to defer till the 13th.
Motion
Is
to.
there discussion or motion always ready? Yep.
Make a motion to extend this to the December 13th meeting.
Motion to defer to 13th of December. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there more discussion? City Clerk, call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Now, if you don't mind, City Manager will refer items 6F and 6G at your disposal.
6F, as I mentioned, is consider the approval of accepting a grant from the Florida Inland Navigation District fund in the amount of $75,000 for the purchase of public safety boat, motor, and trailer. Since I received some questions during briefings, I figured that I will bring the questions up to all the commission. The question was, what will be the boat used for? So obviously, it's a public safety boat. When I talked to the chief and also on the agenda item, it mentioned that it will be used for the marine patrol, kind of, looking at the derelict vessel. Also, it would be for emergency services, law enforcement, search and rescue, waterway safety and education, and it would also give us the ability to identify and investigate and remove derelict vessel from our waterways. The grant is for $75,000, and that is the maximum that FIND will give you on that specific item. So the total cost on the boat is 290 or 350,000, and they only give you 75,000. The rest of the money would be coming from police impact fees. So I just want to make sure that it's not coming from general fund. As far as who's going to want to patrol this boat, the chief indicated that currently he will have a part-time police officer, but it would not be 24/7. It would be as needed, and as they feel like the need for it, if they need to go out there and look at the derelict vessel, or they need to go and investigate some other areas, or do search and rescue. But eventually, hopefully at some point, it would turn into a full-time. So the expectation is, I don't want the expectation to be high. It'll be a part-time position at this point, but eventually it'll move into a full-time. So he will have 2 part-time that will be assigned to this unit, and they'll be able to perform their duties whenever is needed. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them on this topic.
Okay, is there questions? Yes, I see the Vice Mayor.
So are the part-timers going to be sworn law enforcement?
Yeah, just the regular officers, but they will be assigned to that. So if there's any need for them, they're the one, and then he will be using overtime as well for the officers.
Okay.
Commissioner Perrine, any questions? Mr. Martin?
Just a reminder that free money always ends up being very expensive.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
No comment.
Okay, very good. The Chair would entertain a motion if it's
Motion
the
to
will.
approve item 6F.
I have a motion to approve item 6F and a second. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 6G. Go ahead.
6G is consider the approval of accepting a grant from the Florida Inland Navigation District FIND in the amount of $147,000 for the design, engineering, and permitting of a dock and amenity improvements of the North Causeway boat ramps and overflow parking. And I just want to make sure that this item has been reviewed by the previous commission a couple of times. When we submitted the application, the commission has approved us to send the application to FIND. So this is very critical because we had a grant application for this specific site previously. We got the grant and then we turned it down. So it would affect our probability and our efficiency in getting these grants. So I just want to make sure this commission is aware of what's happening. The improvement will be at the North Causeway boat ramp, the east and the west side. Currently, the ramp itself has floating docks, but the piers, the finger piers, does not have floating docks. So when people coming back and they're trying to get out of the water, because it's a fixed dock and when it's low tide, they're having a hard time to climb. So the finger piers will be converting into floating docks. So that would be I would call it phase 1 of the construction. Right now it's just design. But the most important number is when we go to the construction, the total cost of the project as it was estimated when we submitted the grant application was between $3.8 million to $4.2 million. This grant that you're considering today is just the design portion, which is phase 1 based on the FIND grant criteria. The total cost is 294, but it's a 50-50, so our cost is 147,000, and that will be coming out of the parking funds. Parking funds is specifically will be used for improvements of any park that is associated with this parking fund. So we have 6 or 5 parking along the beach that they fall under this criteria. So you got 27th Avenue, you have the Mary Ann Clancy Park, you have Flagler Avenue, Esther, and North Beach. And then you have the 2 boat ramps that you got, North Causeway and Swoop. So this 147 will be coming out of the parking funds. Then when we move into the second phase, and as I mentioned to the mayor during the briefings, they would not reimburse us for the design money until we actually start on the construction. So when we submit in March of 2023 for the construction money, the way that our capital improvement project made the project is he made the construction as 2 phases. Phase 1 would be just doing the improvements on the at the boat ramp itself, so the east and the west, converting the finger piers into floating docks. And phase 2 of the construction will be the other docks along the AOB sites. So if you look in the agenda item, the first phase of the construction is between 640 to 660,000, but the second phase of construction is 3.1 million to 3.5 million, and that's will be coming out of the parking funds as well, and that would be a 50-50. So I just want to make sure that those numbers are out in the open, transparent, and we know exactly what's going to go there and how much it's going to cost. And again, this is our estimated cost, not an actual cost. With that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Khalid. I think I'd like to defer to the veterans on the commission here, and if there's any clarification or questions or points of interest to educate us, either from Vice Mayor Hartman or Commissioner McGurk, I'd welcome that. You guys have discussed it prior, was the reason I asked that, Randy, and so it's new for us, but you guys have talked about it previously.
No, I've been on the dais for 6 years, and so we've been discussing it for over 6 years. So I'm sure Commissioner McGurk can add to that. But like Khalid said, we had a grant before. Originally, we were going to sell the piece of property, so it wasn't an issue. And then we were going to make improvements. The community supported the park-like setting on that small strip along the waterway. And so we had a grant, and then we, at the last minute, decided not to follow through, so we pulled that grant back. And so I think this is a great opportunity to provide some of the services. As you know, we're pretty much a boating community, surrounded by water, even some that we don't want. So this certainly would be an asset. The only point I want to make is that in the agenda, there is a rendering of the docks and where the docks are going to be, but that's simply a rendering. It's not the actual design yet because we haven't been through the design phase. So where you see all those docks, that may not necessarily be the end product. That was just to submit to FINE so that we could have a talking point and a start of the conversation.
Commissioner McGurk.
So I agree with what Vice Mayor said. I'll add, a little bit of my heartburn is the money's coming from the parking fund as a whole. It's not a bad thing, but this is a one-time expense for these, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's all important. The only question in my mind is going forward after this, where do we allocate money for projects like this? The boat ramps used to be free. We charge for them now. It's all kind of tied into the same parking fees. Whether or not we earmark certain money or figure out a way to determine what amount of money goes to ramps, and if stuff is very, very expensive, these amenities that we provide. So I'm in support of it, I want to be clear of that. But I also want to be careful on where we start taking monies from to spend money on certain things. The parking fund was also originally going to be to go towards the parking task force that we set up, recommended that we expend this money to acquire more parking around Flagler and the Canal, and the areas where we charge for the parking. The floating docks are very important for safety. Obviously, at low tide, you get, depending on the currents, your boat can get caught up underneath a fixed dock. So there's a lot of issues with that. In terms of fine, it's very important that we have to be serious. We have a good record of getting fine dollars and other grant money. We are pretty active as a city for that. But fine doesn't like when we submit for money, go down a road, and then back out. So it's, you know, in this case, it's certainly not the end of the world if we did that, but it's something that we really don't want to do unless people feel very strongly about it. So I'm in support of this, and going forward, I wouldn't mind. You know, we have a lot of amenities, and we have a lot of people in the community who want a lot of different things done with our parking and what that can be. So I support it as a one-time expense, not as an ongoing one from the parking fees. And I'm sorry if that sounded a little long-winded.
No, thank you very much. Commissioner Martin.
Well, I'd like to comment that while we do have a very large boating community, we're not exclusively a boating community. My concern at this point is covering any more land with concrete or any other impermeable surface. We know that that area gets hit pretty hard on a routine basis, but I also understand that this has been in process, and let's see what the design would be. But I'm sure as heck hoping it includes a lot of permeable surface.
If you look at the conceptual drawing, it just shows the docks. There's really not much improvement on the actual property that.
Yeah, but there was references to pavilions and rest areas.
Yeah, but it's just
so
very small.
Well, you know, we don't know what it is yet. We'll see what it is.
Anything else, Commissioner Martin?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Perrine.
I spent a long time absorbing all of this because I felt the same way with the funds coming out of parking, and I had to decide if this was best use for the parking needs that we do have for the community, because we have a lot of them. I spent 10 minutes looking for a parking place off a canal today, and it's not even a busy day. But here's the conclusion that I came up with. This is really parking to some extent, because there are boat trailers and trucks that are parked any which way. We don't need to pave that, like she said, but the thing is that we need to have some organization in this parking lot, which would cover some of that parking. The people that do come here that do boat, whether we're boaters or not, they do shop in our restaurants or go to our restaurants and eat, and they do shop in our retail places while they're parked there. They are close to, you know, the couple of establishments around there. So for me, I think that's just part one of where we need to go with solving some of our parking issues. It's a good way to start with that. If you've ever been at the boat docks and been waiting in line to get out of the ramps, it's awful. So if you have some temporary spots that you can pull up to and wait, you know, it's just a safety thing. It's less gas fumes in the air, and it is better for our environment if the study comes out that we can do what it does say to do. I did have one question about the fine. Is there a maximum amount that they will contribute with the phase 2? Is there a limit to when it goes to the 3 to 4 million? You said 50-50, but do they have a maximum amount?
Yeah, 50-50. Sometimes they go below that. So we had, I think it's when we did the swoop, at that time they didn't have a large amount of funds, so I think we got less than 50%, but the maximum that they would provide is 50%. I don't think they have a limit. It depends on how much they have funds available, but then remember, they have 12 counties. So they have from Miami all the way to Jacksonville. So it depends how much was designated to this county. So, sometimes you get a lot of chunks and sometimes you don't, so.
So we need to have this project done and completed by 2024, I believe you were saying?
Well, I mean, it depends how fast.
If we go forward?
It depends how fast you go with, so for example, now we could do the design, and then in March of 2023, we submit for phase 2, which is the construction. And then we'll submit phase 1 of phase 2 of the construction, so which means you only do the finger piece. Now, if you want to wait, if you want to submit the next year, or you want to wait another year to submit, that would be up to you, but. So you could break it up if you want to. I mean, they have their cycle every year at the same time on March, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, good enough. Thank you, City Manager, and thank you for the wise counsel of two senior veterans here. That helps from a perspective standpoint. Just for clarity, Colin, this includes the floating docks, but it also includes a revetment reinforcement of the bank. Is that right?
Yes, it's the restoration of the revetment there. That's part of the.
Very important. Okay, good. And the other point I wanted to make is that this, if we do not pull the trigger on the big money, there is no match for this money. This money goes out, they will not match. So while the little trigger is 150,000, 147,000, the big trigger must be pulled in order to get that money back.
Yeah, well, in reality, it's 294,000 because
with
what
you.
happened is you pay the 294, and then you get reimbursed for 147. So
That's
if you don't pull the trigger, then you're off about 300,000.
Right. So in my view, it's we're really making the big decision. All right. So just for perspective, you have to get your refund. You've got to go forward. All right. Very good. Is there a motion of the will of the commission?
Move to approve item 6G. Consider the acceptance of a grant from Florida Inland Navigational District, the amount of $147,000.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Okay. Is there further discussion needed? City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. There are no second readings this evening, but there is a first reading for an ordinance. And so, City Attorney, please proceed.
Ordinance number 7522, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach temporarily waiving the enforcement of Section 80206 LDR for 6 months to allow residents whose properties have suffered flood damage as a result of Hurricane Ian or Hurricane Nicole to reside in temporary living units on their properties while repairs are underway, providing for an extension, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. I emailed the commission today. This ordinance is a little bit different from the one that published on the website. It tweaks Section 1 waiver to provide some detail on where the temporary living units can be located, just to clarify it can't be in the right-of-way. And it also creates a new Section 2 that deals with that you can ask for one additional 6-month extension in writing. And the city manager may review the extension and the justification behind it. So this will be published on the December 13th agenda. So with that, second reading and public hearing will be on December 13th, 2022.
Thank you very much. We'll have a discussion at that point for sure. On to boards and commissions. And there are 3 boards to consider tonight. the Animal Control Board being the first. Does the city clerk have a report?
Yes, good evening. So the Animal Control Board is composed of 5 members, consisting of a licensed veterinarian, a representative of the Southeast Volusia Humane Society, 2 animal owners, and 1 citizen from the city who does not own an animal. The board recommends rules and regulations pertaining to the operation of animal control facilities and standards and procedures for the enforcement to City Commission. We found that there is a vacancy that was created by member Brianna Mott. She was the former representative of the Southeast Volusia Humane Society. She's left that position, and so it is vacant right now. And there were also 2 terms that expired on September 13th, one that's occupied by an animal owner, James Robert Belt, and one for Chair Robert Leonard. And so tonight, we have received 6 applications from citizens. We're hoping to fill all of those vacancies or reappointment. And the city clerk's office recommends the reappointment of Robert Leonard. We did not have any applications that fit the criteria of a licensed veterinarian. I've spoke with Dr. Leonard, and he is interested in continuing to serve. And I did verify with the Humane Center Director, Karen Spalding, and she did recommend 1 applicant, Jeanette Engel, and verified that she was a current SEVHS representative. So we have 2 applicants that meet 2 of the 3 criteria. That would mean 5 remaining applications for the animal owner. All 5 of the remaining people own animals.
Very good. Okay, so let's take this in 2 bites. The first is to seek a waiver and a motion to reappoint Dr. Leonard for an unprecedented 5th 2-year term. I will be on the lookout for his replacement. It seems like above and beyond the call, but I'm delighted that Dr. Leonard is so kind with his time. And then, do I understand that Jeanette Engel is the only member of the Southeast Volusia Humane Society as the representative, so she qualifies for that position?
That is correct.
Okay, so the chair would entertain a motion to provide those 2 individuals, Dr. Leonard and Ms. Engel, to serve in those 2 specific roles, if it please the commission. Do I see a motion?
Make a motion to reappoint Rob Leonard, and a motion to appoint, within that motion, to include Jeanette Engel as the SEVHS representative.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. I have a second. Is there any more discussion necessary? Very good. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the last position where we have several nominees. And so I believe we will have the city clerk distribute ballots.
Usually they ask for nominations.
Nominations first, that's right. We need a nomination of any of those. There's 5 individuals.
There are 5. So the applicants that are remaining are Patrick Cotter, John Estes, Jane McGrady, Carolina Saccone, and Leslie Sachs.
And so for the benefit of those watching at home or in the audience, we have seen their biographies. Each commissioner has been able to review them. Are there nominations for this position?
I'd like to nominate Leslie Sachs.
1 nomination for Leslie Sachs. Are there other nominations?
Nominate Jane McGrady.
A nomination for Jane McGrady. Any other nominations? We have 2 nominations then. City Clerk, any other nominations?
So the 2 people.
Let us distribute the ballots for those 2 nominations, please.
So Jane McGrady and Leslie Sachs would be the only 2 that you would be voting.
Correct.
What, clarify, how many are we voting for?
Just 1 of the 2.
Okay.
You'll get a ballot with 2 names. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, the results are, let me see, Commissioner Perrine and Commissioner Martin cast a vote for Leslie Sachs. Mayor Cleveland, Commissioner McGurk, Vice Mayor Hartman cast a vote for Jane McGrady, so by majority it would be Jane McGrady. Thank you.
Thank you, City Clerk. Congratulations to Dr. Leonard, Ms. Engel, and Ms. McCready. The City Clerk's office will be sending official notice of your reappointment and appointment out to you soon. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve our great city. Okay, next is a new board, the Community Enhancement Engagement Committee. And we have 3 appointments to do this evening. Will the City Clerk remind, for those of us that are new and those of us that may not be familiar with this committee, a little background on what this new committee is about?
Sure. This is a newly formed board, and it was created so that the citizens can strengthen the neighborhood identity and resiliency by serving on that board. Also review the value of community events to ensure resilient outcome for the community, as well as relevancy, entertainment, and cultural values of the community programs. They were also, one big intention was to facilitate communication and cooperation between neighborhoods and city offices.
And this is a large committee, 11 members?
That's correct.
Would you detail the membership of that, please?
Yes, let me see. There are 4 members, 1 from each zone. 1 member of FABA, the Flagler Avenue Business Association. 1 of the Chamber of Commerce. 1 of the Canal Street Historic District. So that's 7, 2 high school students, and 2 members of residents of New Smyrna Beach that could serve at an at-large capacity that have expertise in leadership.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And so these 3 who have submitted an application would qualify for which of the specific vacancies you seek?
So the clerk's office did receive 4 applications. 3 out of 4 of them matched qualifications that we're looking for, which are 2 of the seats for the citizen at large with the leadership expertise. We had 2 applicants that fit that description, which were Janelle Devine and Susan Sigler. We had 1 applicant, Noah Dodge. She is a student at New Smyrna Beach High School. And so those 3 out of 4 meet the criteria. Unfortunately, the other applicant was a Zone 2 that would be the criteria that they are met, and that seat is already occupied.
And no other criteria could be met? Okay, very
That's
good.
correct. Mhm.
Okay, so we have 3 vacancies and 3 qualified members. The chair would entertain a motion to appoint.
Move to approve Jennifer, is it Jennifer? I have Jennifer.
Jennifer Devine?
Jennifer Devine.
Yes.
Noah Dodge and Susan Sigler to the Community Enhancement Engagement Committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by any commissioner? City Clerk will call the roll, please.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to Ms. Devine, Ms. Sigler, and young Ms. Noah Dodge. The City Clerk's office will be in touch sending official notification of your appointment soon. Thank you for your willingness to serve our city. The last is the Economic Development Task Force. City Clerk, will you give us a few sound bites on that and with your report, please?
Yes. There are 2 vacancies. This is a new meeting body as well. The task force would assist the city's economic development on an on-assignment basis. They will review and advise staff and the City Commission on specific defined economic development initiatives or challenges and perform such other duties and assignments as requested by the city manager. We did have 1 applicant. I keep these postings up. When we have applications, we grab them and I put them on the agenda so we could get these boards filled, especially the new ones. We have a applicant named Richard Chambers, and I believe his I printed out and sent his resume along with his application. And we do not have another application for this board.
So we fill with this one, and that leaves one outstanding that we need to recruit for. Very good.
Correct.
Is there a motion to appoint Richard Chambers to serve a 3-year term expiring September 1st, 2025?
Motion to approve Richard Chambers.
Very good. I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded. Is there any further discussion? City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Mayor Owen, I'm sorry, Mayor Cleveland. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Russ. Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Chamber. The City Clerk Office will be sending an official notice of your appointment to you soon. Thank you for your willingness to serve our city. It's time for the Mayor and Commission reports. I'd like to ask my fellow commissioners for the reports, beginning with the Vice Mayor.
So I promise to be brief. I hope all of you have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.
Perfect. Commissioner Perrine.
Ditto that.
Wow, I love it. Commissioner Martin.
Pretty quick. We'll be holding the 2 community meetings next week at Coronado Civic Center. Tuesday will be for the oceanfront properties, and Wednesday will be for the properties affected by Hurricane Ian or Nicole. And a note, in the last 5 years alone, we have had 4 major events causing major damage to properties in our city. And I hope we are finally prepared to take a stand about our methodology going forward. A 400-year storm means that we have a 1 in 500 chance every year of having that storm. And on a related but different note, I noticed that action is starting on demo and reconstruction from Hurricane Irma Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. And I'm asking that we consider factory-built homes to expedite the process and reduce cost of living expenses. I am again offering my home as a model so that mistakes, if any, will be my problem. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Commissioner Martin. My remarks are that I also attended the Volusia County Economic Development Program this past week, and I'll duplicate the literature which Mr. Sather spoke about so that each of us can read that and find out how, you know, it was probably hard to remember the stats, but there are some very good stats and very interesting stats as how we stack up to other communities, our size plus our neighbors, and compare and contrast for your benefit. And I share in Commissioner Hartman's sentiment about we have a lot to be thankful for, so happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December. City Manager, do you have a follow-up to your report, sir?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. The City Clerk, do you have a report, more of a report, Kelly?
Just happy Thanksgiving wishes and thank everybody on the new commission for making it such a seamless process this past week. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you and your staff's work, Kelly. Thank you very much. City Attorney, I believe you have a report.
I was naked without my microphone. Just to follow up on what Mr. Shoshone presented, we found out on Thursday of last week that Airgate will not be executing the addendum to the lease. He does not intend to leave the premises as of December 31st. The city attorney's office would like to proceed with the termination of the lease. As for the mediation request, you know, I feel that's what we've been working on for the last 3 years. You know, we've told him to work with the state to determine what that pro rata portion of sales tax should be. We've authorized him to seek a refund. We've encouraged him to get that the TAA from the DOR to determine what that pro rata basis is. I don't know what more we can do. So just looking for a motion of support for the city attorney's office to continue with the plan to terminate those leases.
Right. So let us have any discussion by the City Commission to follow up to Commissioner Hartman's motion last week to allow an extension, if not signed by last Friday, the termination would be as in the agreement on the 31st of December. And we're just echoing that statement if we decide to make a motion to do that. Any discussion from any member? Commissioner Hartman?
I don't have any. I think I said it at the last meeting. Clearly, in my mind, that we did not give him a 5-year extension. That never came before us to act as a body. So he's currently will be in default as December 31st. I think we offered him an opportunity to make an amendment to work through that process. I encouraged the mediation at that time. So if he chose not to go forward with that, then certainly I think that we should proceed with the eviction process.
Commissioner McGurk?
I want to proceed with the termination of the lease, and I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to continue in that direction.
Very good. I have a motion, and we can continue discussion if we get a second.
I'll second the motion.
A second, and we'll continue a discussion with Commissioner Martin.
I would like to support Carrie's decision to proceed as written.
Same.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any more report from the city attorney?
I'm working on a memo for the moratorium. There are legal parameters we have to work on in order to avoid takings claims and all of that, so look for that. It is coming soon. You know, these are sensitive issues. I have case law to support how to adopt a valid moratorium. So I think it's kind of going, some of the things we've heard go beyond the scope of what we can do. So just be on the lookout for that.
Very good. And I'm sure there are some ill-informed residents out there who are watching and paying close attention to what this will include. As the previous commission stated, the easy part is asking for the moratorium. The more complex is, what do you get? What are the deliverables that the city will get? Commissioner Martin has referred to that before as we have to do something different. That process that we did for years and years and decades may not be applicable today. So if we change up what we're going to do to move forward, we will be ready. And so to the city manager, those deliverables, Khaled, will be very, very important, not just by the expert you have, but by the entire staff of permitting, engineering, et cetera, and how we do things from this point going forward.
Yes, sir, and that's what we're looking for, so looking forward to it.
Any other comments from any other commissioners? Okay, very good. Seeing no other business, we're adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving.